Hello everyone, I'm Bob Furlong, and this is Tech Quip's number 15, Google Rubric Tips. One of the more recent additions to Google Classroom is the use of rubrics. This video is not going to be about how to make a rubric because there's just so many different types out there, and depending on what you want to use it for, there's no one way to properly make a rubric. It does take some time to make that first one, but once you get the hang of it, you can make them pretty quickly. And even better, once you have made that first one, you can just keep on editing that one and make as many as you'd like. One of the tips though is to create a Google Classroom that is just called rubrics. So here I am in my classroom, in my set of classes, and I have my rubric class. Now when I click on that and I go to classwork, it shows the rubrics that I've made so far. So I like putting them into one place. Now the reason for that is if you were to create it in the assignment, if you then delete that assignment later on, which is something that I typically like to do only because I want to clean up my classroom every once in a while, I found out that the rubric goes away as well. So when I went to go reuse a rubric, it wasn't there and I had to create it all over again. So create a classroom with just the rubrics in there. I'm in my actual class now and I simply created an assignment. And notice where it says add rubric, it's grayed out. You have to title your assignment first. Notice you can now add a rubric. So I'm going to click on add a rubric and we've already created it. Create all my rubrics in the rubric class. I'm simply going to reuse the rubric and now select the class that it's in, which are my rubrics. And I'm going to select this one. Since this is a 15-point rubric, I'm going to change my number of points to 15 as well. So let's take a look at what happens once the students have submitted their assignment. Oh, someone turned one in already. And notice what happens on this right side. I have the rubric. Now one thing that is kind of lacking, I wish this could be changed, but I'm just seeing some gray boxes here. These are the points that each of the different sections are worth. So in this case, they can get a 1 or a 0, 1 or a 0. I'm looking to see, in this case, their guiding question. It's a good guiding question. They get 1 point. I look at their hypothesis, and their hypothesis is present, so they get a point for that. I look to see, did they properly identify the independent-dependent variable? Did they properly give me 5 constants? If yes, then they get 3 points. Now they could have got a 2 or a 1 or a 0. They left it blank. And notice then what happens at the top, it tallies that up. And when you hit return, it will notify the student that they got an 11 out of 15. So what does the student then see? The students can then see how many points they got on each section of that rubric. Now one of the things that I do in making the rubric, just to make it a little bit easier on the Google side of it, is that I give the students a detailed explanation of what they should see in each section of the rubric that they are going to be assigned. So we spend some time in class going over this, explaining it. They do rough drafts and they get feedback on this so that in classroom, all I have to do is assign those points. So those are just a few tips on using Google Rubrics. Thanks for watching.